So the New York Post tweets far left podcaster Jennifer Welch blasts homeschooling as trickle-down stupidity and a fundamental crazy Christian problem. Ron DeSantis says not true. Also, in my experience, homeschool students tend to be noticeably well behaved.
What's up, everybody? Damn, Miss Welch. You got in trouble with MAGA a whole lot this week, you intelligent, high-earning, non-trad white, progressive white woman, you. Because, folks, that's not the only place where MAGA got a meltdown with her. Of course, they got a meltdown with Lindsey Graham, and I'll show you that as well. But her calling out homeschooling is absolutely right. You're not preparing kids for society. And Don Lemon is going to give, my boy Don Lemon is going to give some examples of that in his own life. And in this quick video today, everybody, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover a brave woman who was a wife of an ICE worker who wanted her to do something really illegal. And guess what? E. Jean Carroll is finally going to get paid. That and so much more, folks. You're in the building. Politics of Being Black. Lamont Tyson. Let's go.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that pull. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
That's right, everybody, and all the new people. You are in the building with the all-knowing, all-loving, all-feeling, all-seeing, all-powerful, all-woke, all DEI, all equitable, just damn all everything sexy as hell host. That's me, Lamont Tyson. Welcome to my channel. Fundamentals of this channel, I use my platform to bring together smaller progressive voices so that you can find them in an easy-to-find platform, uplift them, subscribe to them. And the fundamental other basis of my channel is debunking societal myths that have been put in place by Mighty Whitey to keep us fighting each other and to keep us from progressive. And I do that by finding examples of this shit every day. And Jennifer Welch does a great job of finding examples, and we're going to talk about hers today. If you don't know, over the last quarter, I have been the 8th, not number 5. Number 5 goes to Zeto. I'm number 8 down there where you see Lamont Tyson in front of Joe Rogan, the 8th fastest growing progressive YouTube channel in all of politics. And I just want to thank you guys for growing this community and helping others get exposure. That's a big fundamental of this channel. So Jennifer Welch, ladies and gentlemen, you all know her. She's famous. She's I had it. She's a big voice of what we need for equality, and she stands firm on it. And I stand right with her. Don Lemon stands right with her. D.L. Hughley stands right with her. And she got herself into a bunch of trouble this week with MAGA. They was having 7-day panty draw meltdowns, okay? Somebody put gasoline on their underwear and set them bitches on fire, and they was having a tantamount meltdown. But the main meltdown came from this stuff right here. Take a look at this.
All right, today we're going to review all of the headlines that have been running amok about yours truly on right-wing media. Number 1, he liked cock and he liked killing. Jennifer Welch mocks Lindsey Graham after his death shock rant. And I ask you, where's the lie? All right, the next slide. Far-left podcaster Jennifer Welch calls homeschooling trickle-down stupidity a huge problem. I would like to say thank you for calling me far-left podcaster. I'm often accused of being a moderate. Next slide. Governor Kitten Hills has chimed in. Governor Kitten Hills has entered the chat. The New York Post far-left podcaster, again, thank you, New York Post. Sometimes my listeners accuse me of being a moderate. Thank you so much for calling me far left. Not true. Also, in my experience, homeschool students tend to be noticeably well behaved. Ron, I'm just curious, why do you send your kids to a private school, you fucking hypocrite? Next slide. You guys, the Department of Education of the United States of America tweeted about me. Badge of honor beaming here. Again, shout out to the New York Post. Thank you for identifying me appropriately as far left. The proven value of homeschooling should never be dismissed as trickle-down stupidity. And I want to just agree, it shouldn't be dismissed as trickle-down stupidity. It is fucking triple-down stupidity. Thanks for shouting me out.
Let's break that down before we see the other clips. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1. when you homeschool your kids, think about the type of individuals that always want to homeschool their kids. These are the type of individuals that obviously for them to talk about Black people being in the bubble of the hood, what the fuck you think you're doing by homeschooling? You're keeping your kids in the bubble of the home. And when you keep them in the bubble of the home, they don't get out and get social skills. And when you don't get out and get social skills and understand how to critically think through an environment that is public, that has many people, you're going to make stupid decisions, or you're going to be beholden to the people that you learn about in that bubble. And usually these homeschools are Christian, nationalist, right-wing paragons of making people stupid, making people not critical think, and making people not understand that there are other people around society that we need to learn how to get along with. But the most important one, ladies and gentlemen, they do not learn that things should be equitable. They do not learn that thy neighbor could be Black, Hispanic, Asian, Chinese. They learn that their race is the superior race in that stupid school that they're doing. And they don't get any of the skills of sympathy and apathy because we know that Christian nationalists aren't teaching that anymore. And to Jennifer's point about how they are attacking her, you also got to think, she is probably one of the greatest weapons against white nationalist white men that are rich. She's a successful white woman. She's educated. She comes from the Bible Belt. She comes from Oklahoma, a place where I don't know when the last time they voted blue. Can somebody tell me when the state had blue anything? I mean, do they even allow the color blue in there? It's blue skies in Oklahoma. That's where she comes from. And she calls this shit like it is. And when you have someone who's been inside that type of environment, gets out and is able to expand on why it's wrong, why it's not helpful to all of humanity, they want to shut her up. But there's more, ladies and gentlemen. In this clip, Don Lemon is going to also expand upon what he heard and what he saw when he went on the show with her. And shout out to the DL, the legend Don Lemon. Love that guy. Love Jennifer. Love anyone who's standing up verbally, physically, progressively for what's right. And I'm with her. When you compare far left to far right, honestly, people, which one do you want? It ain't the far left out there using ICE to kill people, citizens. It is never the far left that's running around creating mass shootings. Maybe far left want to hug trees. Is that more dangerous than using a weapon to harm somebody? You tell me. Take a look at this clip.
Tweeted about me, same New York Post article. U.S. Department of Education homeschoolers, like the winner of the President's 1776 Award, have demonstrated their ability to succeed at the highest level time and time again. The proven value of homeschooling should never be dismissed as trickle-down stupidity. The only thing that is stupid is your ignorance. And I want to also point out here that Linda McMahon's children both attended public high school. They were not homeschooled. Dawn.
Okay. Number one, I think it is a badge of honor to piss off the MAGAs and Ron DeSantis. I can't take anything seriously that they do, honestly, because as I have said to you before, people who are intelligent, when they gain new information, they change their minds if it's something that's different from what they believe. No matter how much information you give a MAGA person, they don't change their minds. It is cult-like, and I consider Ron DeSantis to be a MAGA person. Here's the thing, though. It's so funny that you mentioned that. If you'll just let me tell this little story. The interactions that I've had with most children or most people who have been homeschooled, I'm talking about adults, not children, I should say that, when they're adults, they've been so sheltered that they have no idea of what the real world is like. So I just happened to be at a concert and I sat next to someone who was from my own hometown in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He lived there until he was, I think, 17 years old or 18, graduate from high school years. And I was talking to him about landmarks, things that were part of Baton Rouge. Like when you go to Baton Rouge, you go to Tony's Seafood and you do this. Everybody knows what that is. Everybody. I said, and did you know about this? Did you know about that? Oh my gosh, do you remember that? He remembered nothing because his parents homeschooled him. And he told me, hand to God, he wishes he had not been homeschooled because it sheltered him so much that he had no idea about the real world.
Folks, it's true. And if you make the choice to homeschool, you have got to do something to help those kids understand what it's like to mingle amongst the other people that live in their community outside your church. I can speak to that directly because I was a respiratory therapist that did outpatient care, and I worked with several kids, white kids, that was being homeschooled in these crazy ass religions. And when some of those kids got out of the religion, they were messed up in the head. Now, do you think that those folks believe in bringing in mental health specialists? No, their mental health specialist is getting on their knees praying to God. And I'm sad to say, folks, that just doesn't work. You need to talk to somebody on earth that can give you educated, proven help to get you over this hump that you get stuck into. And the other thing that this homeschooling does with these white nationalists, it sequesters any real history that would have them understand why things are the way they are here in America, which is what they really want. They really want to be raising a state of people who don't care about minorities, who think that they are superior above all that, and to keep this white race going and to keep you dumb, because if you don't have, it's hard to have critical thinking skills if you're not out in the world being critical, being criticized, having to overcome hurt, having to deal with when people say bad things about you, having to understand that sometimes what you learned at home is just not true. It's not true. And that brings me to my next story. Folks, post your comments on what you think about this homeschooling thing. I'm not saying it should be illegal, but there needs to be rules put in place that ensure that these people are not going to come out of that and be these folks that sit in basements all day, keyboard warriors, and then when they get mad enough about something and they don't have facts, they go shoot up the place. We can't keep having that. And a lot of that comes from those type of environments. The next case is someone who did get caught up in that type of environment. We just had this shooting with an ICE agent in Maine. The wife has been speaking out. Bless this woman in so many ways. Some of y'all know I got jokes. I have no jokes for this woman, because for her to speak out when someone wanted her to do something criminal, I just got to tip my hat to that. I do. So take a listen to what she had to say, and then we'll break this down.
He's like, well, I need you to lie about my character because this is how, this is what it comes down to, is my character. I don't want you talking about any of the abuse in our relationship. This is literally about me, actually. I told him that I was not going to lie for him, that I've waited years to speak my truth. It was abuse, not only to me, but to our daughter. And even being divorced from him, I've dealt with harassing phone calls, threats of him wanting to kill me. I believe that this man was murdered. David's mental health played a part in what happened. I think what happened was he was standing there during that operation, had a PTSD moment and hit fight or flight mode. And unfortunately, a man lost his life due to it.
Folks, put an APB out on that wife. She needs protective custody. Democrats, the non-corporate, non-APAC Democrats, the ones that us far lefties vote for because we want to see that people's vote count as much as the rich people's vote. We need to put her in a bunker and hold on to her, because her testimony is going to be paramount when we win back the House in getting not just her ex-husband arrested, but all these unqualified pansies thrown in jail. Half of ICE should be in jail because they're all signing up for this shit because they want to have power. And Trump has emboldened these racists to have power. I honestly can't tell the difference between ICE and them MFers on Patriot Front that marched on the Capitol a couple of weeks ago. I can't tell the difference. And their level of smarts, folks, is stupidity. We literally have mass dumb goons running around the country with a license to kill and no accountability. And what this woman, this ex-wife, just said is a microcosm into all their behavior. She's telling you the mindset of these buffoons. She's telling you the mindset of these idiots. They don't think, they react, and they only react when they have an advantage. I always jokingly say, white dudes, their Bible is the gun. and they only gonna approach a situation that could be mano a mano when they have an advantage. So 2 black dudes versus 6 the white guys. They'll take that on because they got the advantage. 1 white dude who has a gun versus a black dude who has a knife. He'll take that shit on. In her case, a white male who's probably bigger than her, hard to believe, taking on a woman. You'll take that advantage. And then you have the audacity to be threatening the kids. Come on, man. We need to shut that shit down, ladies and gentlemen. We need to shut that shit down. There is no place for these guys, and a lot of them probably was homeschooled, which makes it even worse, running around here with a license to kill people. And I have to chastise the minority speaker of the House for trying to vote on sending more money to Israel, which is basically, in essence, you voting in-house to send more money to these goons who we know are harming other Americans. And so, yeah, call us far left if you want to. We're not the provocateurs of the type of stuff this woman just said her husband is accused of, and we need to shut that shit down, and we need justice. It's not just Trump and his administration and Tom Homan that need to rot in jail. Every single one of these ICE workers who has done something of this nature, who has sat around for this and not tried to make peace, they need to suffer some stiff consequences too. Post your comments. Let me know what you think. We need to protect that wife, ladies and gentlemen. She needs to be somewhere protected. She needs to be living with Hakeem Jeffries so that she can get that kind of level of protection, because her testimony is going to be needed later on. Last story I'm going to cover today, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch up with y'all on Monday. And again, thank you for coming and checking me out. Thank you for making me the 8th fastest growing progressive political channel in all of YouTube. Not too far behind Mehdi Hassan and Zedo, just a little bit in front of Joe Rogan. I implore you all, when you know smaller progressive voices that are trying to get their voice amplified, send them my way. I will upload their stuff. I will amplify their voices. I put their credit in the video description and in the pinned comment so that you can join their group and help them grow. This channel is about growth of progressive voices, and it's about debunking the myths that was put in place by Mighty Whitey to keep us all down while they pillory the system. And speaking of pillorying the system, somebody's body was pilloried, and then their finances was almost pilloried. I'm talking about E. Jean Carroll. She finally got paid from the horrible abuse she suffered from Trump, and then he tried not to pay her. This is going to come to us from my folks over at Native Land Pod, that Angela Rye, who Larry loves so much, and my boy Bakari Sellers. Take a listen.
In other news, E. Jean Carroll, congratulations to her legal team. They finally received, this graphic is pretty dope. They finally received $5.6 million. The original settlement was $5 million. The $6 million is interest because Trump was messing around and he found out. But she finally received $5.6 million from Trump after he was found. And I got to pull up exactly.
It's right here.
Is it right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
You are blind. Why you got to leave?
No, because I wanted to make sure that's not what I had. I wanted to make sure that I read the right thing because, oh, here it is. In a federal civil trial, Donald Trump was found legally liable for sex abuse and defamation against writer E. Jean Carroll. This was a civil case. He was not found guilty of a crime. I had to read that because I ain't trying to get sued by these people, man.
They're sued anyway, but yes, so in other words, from a civil standpoint, your president is a rapist and a defamer. No surprises there.
No, it's not a surprise. And I think sometimes we as progressives, we get bogged down wondering why other MAGA folks don't see this, when we have to think, look at how they're being raised. They're being raised in bubbles. Fox News doesn't tell you this stuff. And if we keep this thing 100, remember, Fox News got sued by Dominion and had to pay almost $1 billion for fucking lying about the election results. And so if Fox News knows that his people is in a bubble, Trump knows that these people are in a bubble, what do you think is going to happen with Trump? They're not going to know all the details. And E. Jean Carroll, have y'all ever listened to interviews of her? She is spunky. You can tell she's with it. You can tell she's an old school progressive. And I'm happy that she's getting a small modicum of justice. Small modicum. That's not the kind of justice I'm sure she wanted across the board, but at least it's a small modicum of justice. And it lets you know that in some cases, justice will prevail, because Trump still needs to realize the complete justice that he hasn't gotten. And I do think that, folks, he can get that. But we've got to get non-corporate people in office. People who are not going to be bought by corporations that hedge their bets by putting money on Democrats and putting money on Republicans. Because that's how we get more of the same. That's exactly how people feel like there's no difference in the parties. And folks, there is a difference in the parties. It's just that too many people get voted in that have corporate interests. And we're starting to see a wave of blue that's like, the hell with these corporate folks. We need to be about the people, because corporations is willing to sacrifice democracy for fascism as long as they make their money. The corporations are choosing money over the people. And democracy was never really truly supposed to be like that. And we've got to keep fighting for it, ladies and gentlemen. So please post me all your comments. Keep coming back. Keep letting me know who are some of your favorite progressives out there so that I can try to signal boost for them. I will be coming out soon with my next best male Black progressive mixtapes. I'll be doing it for my white males, for my white females. I've got to get through all of them, because there are a lot of excellent progressive voices out there that at times you miss. And I want to make sure that you guys get exposure to all of them, because there is a place for all of us to share time and grow, especially right now while democracy and the vote and the voice of the people is under direct assault. We've got to do what we can to band together and fight it. So please don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, folks, most likely my next live is going to be Monday at 8 p.m. I'll see you.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.